Hi, everybody. I'm Olivia F. Scott, the Associate Professor of Advertising here at Loyola University, New Orleans, and the founder of Omarge Alliance's marketing consultancy, and best of all, the host of Behind the Ad, where we peel the layers of the media, advertising, and marketing onion back to really demystify the industry for you. Advertising as a whole has transformed significantly throughout the years. I've been around for a long time, and I'm telling you, it truly has. Today, we are going to dig deep into the world of television advertising and get a glimpse on what has been happening in this dynamic industry. Our guest for today brings a diverse wealth of knowledge to the table with over 3 decades of media experience, including stints in radio sales, TV sales, and even a partnership at an ad agency, which I love. He's currently the local sales manager for one of America's largest local television and media companies, Nexstar Media. Get ready to tap into his multifaceted insights and discover how to make your television advertising strategy soar in today's landscape. Welcome with me, if you will, to Behind the Ad, the one and only Lee Stolf.
Thank you, Olivia.
How you doing?
Good.
Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you very much for having me. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. There's been so much about TV is dead, walk away from television that I've been hearing in the industry for so long that I've been wanting to have this conversation for a really long time. So we know that people still right now are questioning the effectiveness of television advertising, especially with like social media and all that. How do you, as a sales manager, one of the most amazing sales managers I've ever met.
Thank you.
How do you make a compelling case for the continued relevance and impact of television as an advertising medium?
Yeah. Well, believe it or not, people still spend over 5 hours a day with TV. So, and the majority of that is with the 5 or 6 major broadcasts, which we are. I'd rather be that than part of the 300 or, so other, channels that there are options out there.
Correct.
So that's one thing. The other thing is that, there's a lot of talk about streaming and how people get their channels and so forth, and their viewership has changed, and we acknowledge that. TV has evolved. And streaming is not a threat as much as some may think it is, because we are actually part of streaming. So I'll break it down for you in the New Orleans area. So you've got about 1/3 of the people that get, let's say, broadband only, or a fancy word for streaming. Okay. You get another 20% or say that have rabbit ears from Best Buy, and they get our channel for free.
Yeah.
Okay. Then you have the rest, which is a little bit under 50% on various cable companies and satellite and providers.
It's still that high?
So yeah. So they
Okay.
but the thing is that the streaming and the over-the-air pieces of that pie are the only two that have gone up in the past, say, 10 years. Okay. So streaming's cut into cable. So when we say cord cutters or cord nevers, that doesn't affect broadcast. It more so affects cable. So when they say that, they're still streaming, and they're getting over the air sometimes, but we're also on streaming TV. So let's say you have YouTube Live, right?
Okay.
Or YouTube TV.
Yes.
Right? Let me say that right. YouTube TV.
Yep. I'm a big fan.
They're on YouTube TV, and for example, Nexstar has just signed a multi-year deal where they made sure and they guaranteed that YouTube TV would carry all 199 of their broadcast channels in the country. So that means WGNO and WNOL is on YouTube TV. So when you're streaming, you also can stream our channels. So it's like another cable company, in other words.
Right.
So our delivery is over the air, through cable, through satellite, and through streaming. So nothing's been encumbered on the local TV situation or delivery. So that really doesn't hurt us. And when I mentioned to you about the digital assets that we have, we can talk to you about social media or, having your message on screens as small as your pocket size or that 60-inch screen in the living room. We also can sell ads on streaming channels. So if a streaming channel is ad serving, let's say, they have ads in the shows, we actually just talk to the client, ask them who their target is, and we go backwards from there. They pick it, let's say their geography is a certain area of the city and their target is a certain age and gender. We can pick that and go on streaming channels, and at the end of the month we get a report and it says, it's very transparent, it says what channels you were on and the completion rate of the video. And so it's just like another entity. And back, say, 15, 20 years ago, I didn't have the right to sell cable, but now I kind of do with streaming. So it's just an additional arm of what we have to, have a different revenue stream.
So people have so many different options of television content. And I'm curious about what people are really coming to local television networks to buy that you can monetize with your advertisers. Is there any particular content that you're finding that fuels that growth?
Yeah, and I'm looking at trends and what has been and what is going to. And local, obviously, with the news and sports and the local appeal and the weather and things that affect us locally in New Orleans, we want to know what's going on in our neighborhood, right?
Yes.
So that local probably won't ever change. I mean, that's a constant, and that's always been an appeal for us and our clients and our viewership. But on the national level, I'm seeing things where, like for instance, CW has just been acquired by Nexstar recently, late last year.
Cool.
And in the span of, let's say, 10 months, we've acquired professional golf, ACC football, which we never had, Inside the NFL, which is a show that the pros watch. It's a weekly show, and it's on Tuesday nights and Friday nights, and it's never been on broadcast before. And they just signed off a deal with NASCAR starting in 2025. So the network that was famous for vampires and superheroes is now a sports mecca. So all of a sudden, that is one of the trends that I see. And just to prove positive, last year the NFL actually had a deal with Amazon Prime. I don't know if you remember, but it was on Thursday nights.
Okay.
And they did a deal where Amazon Prime was the Thursday night football home, right? And the years before that, it was on the NFL Network and broadcast.
Correct.
Well, last year, it lost 28+% of their viewership. Depending on what statistics you look, it could be as much as 41%. But apples to apples, they lost at least 28% of their viewership. So
by going to Amazon Prime.
Right.
Okay.
So I'm just saying that broadcast, fueling its strengths, live sports is going to be where you probably see some more investments in broadcast. In fact, speaking of the NFL, they have a deal where they're guaranteed at least through 2033 of free over-the-air games that's going to be on their contract. So, broadcast is here for at least in my lifetime, so it'll be all right. See, I'd be remiss if I didn't say that ABC is going to be picking up the SEC contract starting in 2024. So being a little selfish is good for us because we'll have more SEC games than LSU. So, yeah.
Awesome. Can you provide any examples of innovative and effective television ad campaigns that have really resonated with your local clients?
Sure. The one that's easy to point to is NOLA Marketplace. After Katrina, there was a lot of, obviously, rebuilding. And people came in from out of town. People that were here needed a voice to say, hey, look, the people that came from out of town to help rebuild and whatnot, some of them were good, some of them were not so good. Mm-hmm. So the businesses here said, we kind of effectively helped them say, we were here before the storm, we're here now, and we're going to be here after. And so at Rose NOLA Marketplace. It was a 3-minute piece that looks like a feature story. It's actually a commercial that we run for 30 minutes, and we run different advertisers throughout that 30 minutes. Some may realize that it's advertising, some may not, but it's created as a feature story looking thing where you can go talk about, have time to talk about history of your business, some testimonials, some different things that, are different about your business. And obviously the testimonials are the most important part, I think, because that says, hey, look, I'm in your shoes. I was in your shoes before, and now this company helped me, and now look what it did. And so I'm very, happy and satisfied. So people will resonate. It'll be like, okay, that I can relate to that, and then they'll make the call. Since then, NOLA Marketplace has been a very successful endeavor. Some stations have tried it and unsuccessfully, but we've been able to manage to master it, and we have it on both WGNO and NOLA 38. It's really something that has resonated with the business community. It's very local, and it gives them a voice and a little bit more time to talk about their business and educate their customers. And when I go to lunch with somebody and they say, NOLA Marketplace put me on the map, that's kind of what it's all about.
Got you. One of the things I really like just knowing is that television advertising is still one of the most credible forms of advertising, right? You see an ad on Instagram or TikTok, you're like, eh. But if you actually see it on TV, you feel there's just this adjacency with the actual medium of TV that makes you feel it's more credible. Can you give us some enlightenment? Because I feel like I know this, but I want you to confirm this, that television advertising on the local level isn't really as expensive as people think it is.
Right.
Can you share with us like potentially some rates for people who are like, I've got a mom and pop business or a small business, whatever, and I never knew that?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that because, one of the toughest things we have, especially with our new people that we have on board, is getting a client to actually trust us and get on the air for the first time. Sometimes people think, well, TV, I think the Super Bowl commercial and it's, millions of dollars to be in there. On a local level where you're talking to less people, obviously, it's not like that. I mean, we can work with people with budgets of $1,000 to $50,000, it just depends on what they want and how we manage the expectations. So it just depends on how fast you want to walk or run, right? So
why do you see so many lawyer ads during the day on TV?
All they need is one big case to justify their advertising for the year. So when you talk about ROI, it really could be that, needle in the haystack kind of thing, and they understand the philosophy of advertising, the consistency, the persistency, stay on and be persistent. And it makes it tough for some other people to get into that business as well because they've solidified themselves. Now, there are thousands of attorneys, right? I mean,
thousands.
there's, but you only see maybe 20 or 30 on TV.
Correct.
But you remember those, right?
Absolutely, I do.
So they know exactly what that means. That means when something does happen, you call them.
Correct. Is there anything else you want to share about what makes you successful in what you do? Like, you've been around for a while.
Yeah.
You clearly have had a lot of success for over 3 decades in the media industry, specifically in sales. What really fuels your success?
Well, I appreciate that. It has been a journey. It's still continuing, so I'm always learning. Never stop training. Never stop learning more. Never stop going into opportunities that give you the chance to meet new people.
Okay.
I think a lot of times this business is about meeting new people. So I'm always networking. I'm always meeting new people, trying to create just relationships. And I think, people, it comes back down to the basics, I guess, of advertising and the philosophy of that. If you send the right message to the right people with the right amount of frequency, no matter how you deliver it, just keep doing that. It's like a workout routine. You don't expect, results overnight. You got to stay with it. The big brands in this country know that. They stick with it. They may change a little bit here or there, but they stay on point, right? And they stay in your brain.
Correct.
So you have to work to not make that decision to buy something from them or work with their business. So if local businesses can do that and stick with it within their comfort level, they're going to see success. So it's just about that and just staying true to the cause. And I love what I do.
Obviously. Yeah. Is there anybody who is better suited for television advertising, and are there brands that just shouldn't advertise on TV? Just curious.
As far as clients go?
Yeah, like any sectors where you're like, if you're in the construction industry or if you're in the, home building, like certain industries that shouldn't or some that really should consider more, like some categories you'd like to see more.
Oh, that's a great question. I wasn't prepared for that one.
That's fine.
For sure. There any business that wants to get a point across,
okay.
The TV still has that strength of the masses. Just like when we're in political season, most of the money spent in TV because they know the politicians have a certain amount of time to get a point across, persuade an audience, and to get them elicit a reaction or an action on a particular day or days. There's nobody that beats TV with that. Then the digital targeting. You can specify exactly who you want to talk to and what message to send to. So the combination of the two really works hand in hand. So any business, can benefit from advertising. It just depends on what level, So I think if you have a message that you want to send to people, we can find the people and we can send the right message to them.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Lee.
Absolutely.
Everybody, this has been a wonderful, very enriching and informative edition of Behind the Ad. I've been hearing as a professor and as a practitioner of advertising and marketing for the past 5 to 10 years, TV is dead, TV is dead. I ask my students every semester, raise your hand if you still watch television. And although we know that people are shifting, they're still watching video content, whether it is on broadcast or local network or whether they're watching on a YouTube TV. The reality is television is not dead. Lee Stolf has put it down for us today. He told us it is not dead. Definitely for all of our local businesses and all of our small businesses, consider television advertising for sure. It's one that I've known for a long time. If you buy spot television, spot cable, spot network, you can get really good prices. So I advocate for you, and I hope that you've learned something today. And for those of you who are in the New Orleans area and you want to actually do some purchasing, contact our buddy Lee Stolf over at Nexstar Media. I'll see you at the next edition of Behind the Ad.